Hello everybody, thank you for joining me today. I'm Lee from the Crafty Spark, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this lovely notebook cover for your shopping lists. It's got a magnetic closure on it, so it keeps it nice and tightly closed, and then inside you've got your notebook with a lovely cover on it rather than a nasty messy cover, and also a place for your pen. Alright, so let's get going, shall we? Now the first thing we're going to be doing is covering our notebook. Now I have bought from good old Amazon 8 of these shopping list notebooks, and they cost a couple of £. You can buy them in the range in the UK as well. America, Canada, Australia, all the other countries, I'm sure you'll be able to get them somewhere. They're very common. It's just very thin. It's not majorly special, but it's for writing a shopping list. You don't really need anything too exciting to write your shopping list on, do you? Because after all, you're just going to tear it off and throw it away when you're done with it. What counts, however, is how it looks on the outside, because you want it to look nice and pretty, don't you? So what we're going to be doing is covering these notebooks. This particular video today, I'm actually going to be sticking the notebook in. The next one that I do is actually going to be a variation of this, where you can chop and change your notebooks. All right, so if you're happy going with this one, this is the easy one. The next one is a little bit more complicated, but I don't know, whatever takes your fancy really, isn't it? Right, okay, let's get going. I have a piece of crumb cake cardstock that measures 8 inches across the top by 8 1/4 inches lengthwise. That is the length of my notepad. All right, hence it's 8 1/4. Right, so we're going to do some scoring now. So you will need to score at let me think. Yep, right. So I'm just trying to get my brain in gear and frantically look for my piece of paper that I've got it all written down on as well. So we are going to start off scoring at 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 5 3/4, and 6. All right. So that was 1 1/2, 1 3/4, 2 1/4, 5 3/4, and 6. Okay. Right, let's move that out of the way. Grab your bone folder. Whoops. There's my one. I'm trying to get the one that's not got ink all over it. Yeah, that one. And you want to fold and burnish those whoopsie daisy score lines that you've just made. Come along, fold over. These little ones are always a bit tricky, aren't they? Never mind, that's it, that's got it. And that one. Now I'm folding them all the way they should go at the moment, but we are actually going to be folding some a different way in just a sec, because we need to make our pen holder. Now, what way round shall I have it? Okay, I'm going to have it this way round so that I've got my 3 score lines on my left. Okay, so single score line, well there's actually 2 score lines there, look, because I folded it over, but the one with the wide score line, narrow score line, have that on your left. Okay, make sure that is really nicely squished down, that score line, because this is going to be the base where our pen's going to go. Now you can use double-sided tape or you can use glue, whichever you really like. I am going to use glue today, just for a change. I do like my glue. Right, now what I've just done is I've just folded, so keeping that wide line, that wide score line there, I've just folded my card back on itself. Okay, can you see that? Hope you can. There you go. Is that better? That's it there, look. All right. Now, with my glue, I'm going to put some glue down, but let me just grab a pen. I'll use this one. These are the pens that I tend to use quite a lot. If you see where your pen is going to go, that will help you know where you're gluing and where you're not gluing. In fact, you know what? I'm going to cut it first. That's far more sensible, isn't it? And then I'm never going to make a mistake. Right, scrap that. We're not gluing, we're cutting. Get your scissors, and if I mark this just so that you can see on here, my pen is going to sit roughly there. Yeah, roughly there. So I'm going to do my pen holder about here and here, I think. Now, you could have your pen holder as wide or as narrow as you want. It doesn't really make any difference. If you have a really ugly pens, then you could maybe go for a longer one. If you had super duper pretty dainty ones, you could go for a small one. The only thing I'd be a bit wary of is if it's obviously too small, the smaller it is, the weaker it's going to be. So just bear that in mind. If you're going to keep putting your pen in and out, you don't want to find that as you're putting it in and out, your pen holder breaks on you. All right, so I'm going that width, which is, let me measure, about a inch and a quarter. About an inch and a quarter. Even with a winch and a water to go with it. Oh, it's starting, isn't it? Never mind. Right, okay. Now, cutting. You have to be a little bit careful with your cutting. Open your card back out again. Actually, let's stay around the right way so that I'm always around the right way. Right, ready? Oh dear. Right. So the marks that we've just made, I've put back over onto my left side, okay? And then I'm just going to fold onto that centre score line now. So now we're on the second score line over, okay? If I turn it over, all right? So we've gone, not the big one, but we've gone onto the little one now. And with your scissors, you need to cut roughly where you've made those two lines, but just up to this score line. All right, don't go any further than that score line. So what I'm going to do is to make it a bit more helpful for me and maybe for you. I'm actually going to draw a line because I'm also going to have to cut this in a minute with a knife. You'll see that in just a sec. Well, you don't have to use a knife, obviously you can use your scissors if you want to. I find it easier with a knife though. There. Alright, so I'm going straight across. So, folding it back so that I'm on that second fold, you see? I'm just going to cut up to that small line. So I'm actually cutting through 2 layers of card. I don't know if you can you see that? I'm not sure if you can see that or not. Right, the next thing we're going to do is, where is my knife? Where is my knife? There is my knife. And where is my cutting mat? So I don't actually slice through my desk. Hang on. I really should get all this organised, shouldn't I, before I start filming? Will certainly make much more sense. Right. Oh, now my jaws are jammed. Oh my goodness me! What a palaver! Oh my gosh! Right. Okay. With your knife and your mat. The rest of that line, once you've opened it back out again, so we've cut through this second score line, we are now going to cut up to the third score line, but open it out. Don't keep it folded up when you do this bit, because if you keep it folded up, you're going to end up cutting right through to the back of your card, and it's not going to work. Well, it will work, it just means you're going to have a hole, I suppose. Yeah, you'll just have a hole. Right, I just need to find my ruler now because the children have been in here and whipped it. I'll use this one. I'm just going to rub out those pencil marks. There we go. Oh, did I whack the camera? Oh, that was close. That was close. Right, so you can see now I have actually got a hole. Okay. Next thing we are going to do, on the inside, I'm using my glue. I'm going to put some glue down that wide gap between the two widest score lines, but stop when you get to the bit you've cut, and then, come on glue, this is because I didn't put it back in my pot. Oh dear me. Just keep going a bit further down. So you've got the bottom bit covered. Put your glue in a pot. Fold it over and give it a nice stick down. Now, as always, I'm going to use my bone folder because it's not just for folding. For me, it's also a glue spreader. And it works brilliantly. There we go. When you've got hands that get sore, use a tool instead. Makes life so much easier. Right, now when you open that up, you will now fold it back on itself. Burnish that line again, that score line, just so that you've got it nice and smooth. And then, using your bone folder or your fingers actually, did you see how that just lifted up? Now it's not actually, whoops, it's come back in again. It's not actually going to lay flat or circular or rounded or anything else like that, come to think of it, because we've got the score line in the middle of it. But this is what we're going to do. Put the edge up, hold it with two fingers and push it back on itself. Okay. And then if you get your score tool, just gently tease it out and you can fold it down. Now if you fold it and score it, you've actually got even lines all the way around there. Can you see that? So when your pen goes in, where's that pen gone? Although it's squared, it doesn't look square and it doesn't sit square either because you've got the even lines going around. So it gives it a bit of a curve and just makes it look nice from an aesthetic point of view. Right, so that is the basis of the actual cover done. Now the next thing we're going to do, I'm just going to give that a good hard squish, is we're going to cover our notebook. So here's the notebook. Now I have cut a strip of card. Now this one is Soft Sky, and all I've done is I've got a standard A4 piece of card and cut the width of my notepad. So in this instance this notepad's about 3 inches, so this is 3 inches wide. And what we're going to do is we're going to put it onto the card, onto the card. It's not a card, is it? It's a notebook. Put it on your notebook. Line your notebook up nicely at the end. It's always worth going very slightly too short, slightly too long rather, not too short. Don't go too short, go slightly too long. And just make sure you're nice and straight with your notepad. See, I'm using my grid lines for this. Oh, well, I should be anyway, but I'm not. So make sure it's nicely lined up on your strip of Soft Sky card, and then just fold your card over. All right. Now the reason you're doing it like that is because different notebooks have different thicknesses, and what you don't want to end up doing is having it the wrong thickness for your notebook. So I folded it round, but then I'm just going to bring my scoreboard in, and where I've done those folds, I'm just going to score them on my scoreboard because I just want to make sure that it folds round nicely. Now there's no point me really telling you the measurement of this because you might find that yours is actually completely different, like the thickness of your notepad, but most of the notepads are around about 1/4 inch-ish thick. So hopefully that will give you an idea of what you're going for. When you do it though, like I said, make sure you do it slightly bigger. It's not going to hurt. It just means that you have a little bit more manoeuvrability going on. Now let's just see how that's fitted on there. Is that going on all right there? Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. That's nice. That's nice. There we go. All right. Now then, the actual notepad itself came with a, well, absolutely a horrible cover actually. If I'm honest, it looked terrible, which is why I took it off completely. You could leave it on, I suppose. Much better if you just take it off, but obviously if you take it off you want to make sure you're still leaving your notepad looking really nice. So I have got some 4mm double-sided tape, and I'm just going to stick that along the score lines rather that I've already done on my cover, like that, because that will then stick itself to that nasty looking top bit there, and it will just help to make it look nice, which is what we're after, isn't it, really, at the end of the day. So I'm going to pop that on there. Now this ultra long flap that's sticking off the back, we don't really need it to be that long, do we? So if I can find my scissors, where did I put my big scissors? I've been making all sorts of projects ready for Christmas, and I've got moved well. I've got that one there. I've got that one there. I've got some there. There's another one there. They're just all over the place at the moment, and now I can't find my scissors. I wonder if the children have had those as well. Or I'll have to use another pair. There we go. Let's use these ones. I don't really like these ones too much because they're quite stiff, but I'm only doing a little bit of cutting. I just want to, because this flap's so large, I really don't need it that large. I just want to cut it down a bit just to get some bulk off of it, really, more than anything else. You could leave it on if you wanted to, I suppose. It wouldn't really make a lot of difference, but I'm going to take it off. And I'm going to take that off as well, so that I can actually stick it on. Well, I will do in a minute. There we go. That's it. Right. Put some more glue on there. Oh dear, I really need to get some more of that. Is there any in this one? I think there might be some in this one. Oops. There's a messy bit on that one. There we go. That's it. Right. I'm going to put my notepad on. I'm going to line it up. I'm going to use the double-sided tape to stick onto that top edge of my notebook to hide it because it looked yucky, and then I'm just going to fold it over and fold it down. There we go. Give it a bit of a sticking, smoothen that edge. Right, so there's the notebook now easily covered. And when you open it, because you've put that double-sided tape at the top there, it's actually hidden all that nasty bit on the end. Makes it look much nicer, doesn't it? Now, I've also cut another piece of cardstock, and this piece, oh, excuse me, I thought I was going to hiccup then. This piece measures 8.25 by 2 3/4, so 8 1/4 by 2 3/4, and that's going to sit on the front of my notepad like that. Okay, now I'm going to decorate it using the same colour ink. So I'm going to be using, where is it, Soft Sky ink, and I'm going to be using, where's it gone, this stamp pad today even, called Kinda Eclectic. And we're going to be going for leaves to begin with. So I'm going to put that on my block. And I'm just going to stamp these onto the front of the, what's it called? Notebook cover. Just along the edges. because I just want to give it a bit of interest. Don't worry if you're going off, because if you were actually doing this from a shop, think of it that way, it wouldn't be absolutely perfect all the way along, would it? You know, if you went into John Lewis and bought one, you'd find it would be a little bit here, there and everywhere. So there you go for the John Lewis-y kind of look. Right, now let's pop this onto the notebook. That bit of glue. Now, because it's such a random pattern, it doesn't really matter what way up it goes, because I've done both ways. But obviously, if you wanted to do it so that it went a specific way, well, you're stamping. It's up to you how you're doing it, isn't it? There we go. Let's pop that on there. Right, so that's actually, our notebook is now covered and ready to go into, just smoothing it all down nicely, ready to go into its actual little wallet bit. Okay, there you go. Look, it's going to go like that, you see? Oh, I haven't done my folds very well there. Look. Make sure you do your folds better than mine, because then it lines up properly and it looks much nicer. Right, now this one I'm just going to glue straight in, but like I said, on my next video I'm going to show you how to make one so you can actually change your pad and then have a bit more sort of life, I suppose, out of your notebook cover. Right, let me just make sure that's in nicely. I want it to be nice and straight, obviously. This is why I like using glue. It gives you a little bit more playtime, because this double-sided tape, obviously it's great stuff for certain jobs, but when you're trying to line things up, sometimes it's better to have glue, because it gives you just that little bit more room. Right, so there we go. All right. That's nicely in there, sitting nicely in our little notebook cover, and our pen's going to be going in there. So the next thing we're going to do is we're actually going to cover the cover. The first thing I've done is I've punched out a 2.5 inch circle. Just going to grab a baby wipe because I need to clean that stamp a minute, because I want to use it again. And my Stampin' scrub is stuck in the cupboard somewhere. Right, there we go. Is that clean enough? Oops, a bit of fluff on there. Don't leave fluff on your stamps, guys. You end up with dirty marks all over the place. Well, it looks like dirty marks anyway. Right, I'm going to use some wild wasabi. And what I'm going to do is, with some Whisper White, which I have somewhere. Where are they? There we go, that's a bit. I'm just going to stamp some of my wild wasabi, making sure it's nicely inked up. I'm just going to stamp it just from the corner, because I only want a smaller circle. I don't want a huge circle, but I'm just going to stamp it just over from the corner on some Whisper White cardstock. And then with my 2-inch punch, I'm going to punch that out, but not exactly, because I don't want it to be too spot on. So I'm going to go just over a little bit, I think, just so that it's not completely central, and just punch it out. All right, and that is going to be going on there, like that. But, and this is where the good bit comes in, we're going to be using magnets. Yay, I hear you say. Now, oh goodness, I can't get my drawer open again because the plug's in the way. Hang on, I'll just try and fiddle around and see if I can find them. They are here. They're all stuck to each other, so I know they're in here. There we go, there's two. Only tiny, tiny, tiny little magnets. We also will be needing some more Whisper White cardstock. And I also want, whizzing across the room, one of my itty bitty butterfly punches, because I like these. Love these little butterfly punches. They are just the best ever. And I will argue the toss with anybody who says otherwise, because I think they're fab. Right, where's some cardstock? Just trying to find some blue cardstock, which I will need in just a sec. And some Whisper White, which I want now. And my Stampin' trimmer, which is buried under loads of paper. There we go. Now, let's move those bits out of the way. I want my card to be 8 3/4, which I'm going to trim down to 8, I think. Yeah, I'll trim it down to 8 first of all, and then I hope I trimmed the right side there. I did, didn't I? Yeah, that's all right then. Now, the first strip that I'm going to do is this area. It's going to come down the front here. So this is 2 inches wide. Now, what I don't want to do is I don't want to have it so that it looks odd when it's closed. I want it to blend when it's closed. So this side, I'm actually going to do a 1 3/4 inch strip. That will work just fine on that side. So I've gone in by 1/8 of an inch all the way around the edge and created this border. Okay, so you can see the crumb cake going all the way around the edge. This side, however, I'm going to do this one slightly differently, because it does actually measure 1 1/2, but I want it to butt up to this edge but still give me the border going round. So I'm actually going to cut it, instead of cutting off 1/4 of an inch from there, I'm only going to cut off 1/8. So I'm actually going to cut it to 1 3/8. Okay. So 1 3/8 on my trimmer. And then when I put this piece on, it's going to sit on that edge. Okay. Let me just move that out of the way and then I can show you what I'm on about. So with our wider piece first, I'm just going to pop this bit on. And this one is going to have the border going right the way around the edge of it. Okay, like that. Can you see? This one isn't. So with this one, I'm still going to go with my glue, whoops, all the way around the edge. Oh, I've just realised I didn't put the magnet on. Oh, hang on, let me just take that off quick. Ah, don't stick. Oh my goodness, that was close. Oh, it's not the first time I've done that, honestly. As you probably guessed. Right, let's stick this one on, because this one can be stuck on. This one can go on right up to that edge. Make sure you're butting it nice and close to the edge with a nice border all the way around like that. There we go. Oh dear, I'll get it right one day. Right, now then, with our magnets, whoops, which I can't pick up, and some glue dots. These magnets fit perfectly onto the glue dots. Now, I've actually got 2 magnets here, but that's fine. That's what I want at the moment, because I've put them, whoopsie daisy, look, did you see that? That was real magic, wasn't it? I didn't even move it. I've put a glue dot, which, as you can see, fits perfectly on the back of the 2 magnets. Now, the reason I've kept 2 magnets together is so that I don't end up sticking the magnets on at opposite polarities and end up with a minus and a minus, so that it repels rather than sticks. Okay. Oh, I sound like a physics teacher. If I knew what I was talking about, that would have been good, wouldn't it? Right, so with our magnet, close your notebook, put your magnet relatively close to your other side and stick it down. All right, take the magnet off, then Then you can glue your other panel on the front. Okay. So, whoops, I just put a dollop of glue on my notebook then. Right, so then we can put our panel onto the front. Now, because that magnet actually went in the middle there, it means that it's not going to stick out too much on the notebook, because once that panel's down, there you go, look, you can hardly see it. You can feel it obviously if you run your finger over it, but you can hardly see it. So let's make sure it's all nicely stuck down. Now I've closed it, and then I'm going to get my 2.5 inch circle. I'm going to pop some glue on the back, but only on half of the circle, and you want to stick that on, making sure you've got your half on there. All right, so just tap it gently to make sure it's on. Whoops, hang on, I've just got, where's that magnet gone? See, I would have stuck that much too low then, so you have to be a little bit watchful where you're sticking it. Actually, if I do it around this way, because that's much easier, I can see what I'm doing then. I tried turning it over because I wanted you to be able to see it, but it didn't quite work. Sorry about that. Right, there we go. Any glue just wipes off, so don't worry about that too much. Stick it down nice and firm, and then with your magnet, just drop it on. It will find its own way, being a magnet. Then you can get another glue dot. Oops. If you can get one off, that's it. Just pop that on the top. Try not to stick your pokey tool to your glue dot if you can help it. Grab your other circle and just pop some glue around the edge, and then just stick it on. Right, there's my magnet there where my finger is, but I'm still able to stick all the way around it. All right, gets a bit close when I get to this outside edge, so just keep teasing it over there. It will stick. The glue's so good, it will hold it. You just need to just give it a little bit of time to adhere itself properly. There you go. All right. Now you could, if you wanted to, you could even put another circle underneath that, or do as I've done and pop it like that. Now, where did I put those? Where's my butterfly punch gone to Dennis? With my lovely butterfly punch, I'm now just going to punch out a butterfly with another glue dot. Stick that on as well. Whoops. Go on, stick on there. Now that's where my magnet is, so if I stick that roughly where the magnet is, it actually helps to lift the wings on the butterfly. So I'll pop that on there, and then the last thing I'm going to do is, hang on, where are they? I'm just trying to find my jewels. Oh, I thought I had a packet. Oh, this one's already opened. I'll use this one. I'm just going to use just 3 little gems just in the middle of my butterfly. Whoops. Just to finish it off there. There you go. And there you have it. There is your covered notebook with its magnetic closure, which, whoops, there you go, opens up. So you've actually got your notebook. And obviously pop a pen in it, and you have quite a lovely little gift to give to somebody there. All right, hope you enjoyed that. Thank you for joining me again. If you need anything, just drop me a line, send me an email, whatever you fancy doing, or go onto my website www.thecraftyspark.co.uk, where you'll find a list of all the products I've used to make this, and obviously all the instruction measurements so that you can make it yourself. See you soon. Bye.